Hello and welcome to Learning Access 2013. My name is Mike Henry and this is the fourth video from Tutorial 3. In this video we're going to look at two things. First, we're going to use multi-tables in a query. So we're going to see how we're going to start using multi-tables and what that does to our query results. And then secondly, we're going to start doing our first criteria, which is going to be an exact match query. So when we look at this query that we've been running, this is our patient list. You can see we've got 51 records, and the reason we have 51 records is because if we were to open up the patient table, you would see that there's 51 patients currently in our table. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do a multi-table query. Now when I click this button here on my Design tab, I click the Show Table. This gives me that same look I had when I first created the query, so I could add another table. And in this case we said the patients could have multiple visits. So if I add in the visit table, you can see that that's come in and I can see the patients that have come in. Now I can also add in here the invoice item table, and you can see I've put that in there, and then the last one I'd put in is the billing that would show our relationships all the way across the board. So I've got all my tables showing all my relationships. I'm just opening this up so you guys can see the fields a little bit better. Now I have not taken one thing off of any of these tables here, but watch what happens when I rerun this query or review it. You can see I've gone to 204 visits or 204 records, and what that means is I've got 204 invoices that are out there. So I can see that Kathy has two different invoices from us. Pam has multiple invoices here, and this has increased the number of records that I've get. So it's really important. If I did not want extra records in here, I was not pulling anything from these tables, I wouldn't want to put them up here because now I have 204 records instead of 51. That could really throw my numbers off if I was doing some type of math or counting exercise. So it's really important to understand what we're asking for. Now in this case, I actually wanted these because I want to pull some information from a couple of these. So maybe I want to know the date of the visit, so I can put that in here, and I'll want to know the reason they came in. Okay, and the reason they came in is actually pulled from here, the invoice item, so we'll know what item they were billed for, and then I'm also going to throw in the cost that they were charged for that invoice item. So now when we run this, you can see we have a little bit more. These were office visits, these were pharmacy, and then different types of visits, and then we have amounts. So it gives us a little bit more information on this particular query to work with. So right now we have 204 records, and what we're going to do is we're going to look at how to eliminate records and show just what we want. And that happens with this line right here called the criteria line. So we're going to take this criteria line, and what I am going to ask is a set of criteria that allows me to get just what I want. And in this case, I want to know the people who are just in the city of Bloomfield. So I put in Bloomfield right here, type in Bloomfield, and you'll notice when I come up to view my query, I end up with 25 results instead of 204. So I've really narrowed down what I want in this particular query. So I'm seeing just the people in the city of Bloomfield. And you can see right here we've got all Bloomfields. When I come back here, I want you to notice, and I'm going to zoom this up, I'll do this a lot during our videos here, you do not have to do this to type this in. You can see that I typed Bloomfield in without doing that. But some key things I want you to notice as I zoom up what was typed in there is we have quotations that have been put around Bloomfield. And what quotations mean is short text. So basically what that says is find me anything that has the letters B-L-O-O-M-F-I-E-L-D in it. So we're looking for the letters of Bloomfield. So the quotations, make sure we understand it's text. Now, we didn't type those in there. Those were put in for us. If we want to use the computer, it will put them in for us. If we don't put it in correctly, so watch this. If I come in here and I decide to change Bloomfield to Hartford, I change this to Hartford, but I forget to put in my other quotation, and I just hit OK and try to view it. You see I get an error. It says, I don't know what you want. Now, I can do one of two things. I can put in both of my quotes, or I can put in neither of my quotes, but I can't do it halfway. You have to do it all the way. So now I do Hartford, and you can see now I get 87 people from Hartford. So this query has a very specific name. It is called an exact match query. We get exactly what we're looking for. So this is an exact match query. And with this, I want to show you one other key thing. Is you can see we see the word Hartford over and over again. 87 times we see this. We only need the city there because we're using this for the criteria. I can actually turn the city field off by clicking here, and now what you'll see is I get only the Hartford people. I still get 87, but I don't have to see Hartford over and over and over and over and over again. It allows me to eliminate a field or not show the field, but I'm still doing a search on that field. So I'll put that back, and you see the Hartfords come back in. So this is an exact match query. We get exactly what we're looking for. This video had two key focuses. The first focus was taking it from a single table query to a multiple table query. What we saw was when we ran it as a single or just on the patient table, we had 51 records. When we started adding in the other tables, without taking anything off of those, we jumped to 204. So we ended up with extra records. And if we had been doing math, this could have been a severe change in our numbers and not good. So we never put up tables unless we want to use them or understand why they're there. Next, we looked at our first criteria where we were lowering the amount of records by putting in criteria and said we are going to do an exact match. We wanted exactly the people from Bloomfield. We typed in Bloomfield in the criteria section and we ended up with quotations on either side. We learned that the quotations meant we're looking for the letters Bloomfield, and that's showing us that that was text. We changed that and saw that if we delete one of the quotations and we put Hartford in there and forgot to put the other one in, we see that we quickly realize that we get an error. So you either have to put both quotations in or don't put either of them, although later on we're going to learn that you definitely want to control where you put your quotations.